but I'm not like prepared to speak on all of it. So
Yeah, me
maybe on
neither.
Wednesday.
Mostly because the weekend has been, I mean, even the New Hampshire stuff, like the Zoran stuff, I'm gonna touch on like the socialism thing, and like both the New Hampshire congressional people voted on that, you know?
Yeah, I do want to I want to make sure we touch on that.
Yeah, that's definitely part because it was strategic. That came out like they voted on it literally hours before Zoran met with Trump, and I think it's important for us to like the class battle is worse. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just seeing the comment
Yeah, some of these TikTok, I save like awesome TikTok reply photos because I know like one of these days I'm gonna use it. It's gonna be so funny, and I had the perfect opportunity there
I need to start doing that. I
because
saved
they
one
really are.
yesterday
Some of
of
them really are so funny. I just laugh so hard. It's harder than any like word reply that I've seen. You know.
Oh my god, I saw one yesterday of Snow White in a padded cell, and I did save that one because I
Yeah,
literally saved that one.
exactly.
I was like, I need to start doing that. All right. I just so you know, I'm streaming on Twitch, and Bridget's
I
here.
am also streaming on Twitch.
Happy
Oh,
Monday.
I guess I should.
I'm getting a work chat of somebody who's saying, I know this is last minute, so no worries if you can't swing it, but and I'm like, I probably can't swing it right now. I'm literally live. I'm gonna go live on TikTok in a second.
Literally live.
Somebody, I did a work thing the other day, and somebody was like, Marissa, you should be a podcast host. And I was like, oh, my friend, you have no idea. Okay, I'm not responding to that message right away because I don't want to.
Are people messaging
All
you?
right, now I'm sorry. It was just I was getting work messages. Okay, I'm going live on TikTok right now.
Okay.
It is funny doing like corporate America stuff right now, and I'm like, most people have no idea. I have a secret life. Oh my god, sorry. I have to balance this with the fucking charger in here now. Okay. Hey friends. Oh my gosh, we got the powerhouse lineup here in the chat.
Wow, people
Joe,
already.
we love you, Joe. I'm glad you're here, babe. I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, Joe, my thoughts are with you too.
We love you.
I hope everything is okay. Saw your post. Very sad.
I loved I loved that like homage though. And I loved all the sweet crafts that your friends made, and I think that was so special. And also, it made me smile too. My grandfather's name is Bert, and it just made me smile, and it all was so sweet. I was thinking about him a lot this weekend too, and then I saw your video, and I had a good little emotion moment. I hope you're doing okay.
Let me see if I can
All right, what do we got?
see if I can put something funny back. I guess I didn't. You know, I'm never prepared to put something funny in my background. Here, I should. It's got to be front of mind next time. Hello, everybody. Hello, Marissa. How's things?
Oh my gosh, things is good. Things are good. Yeah, I had a lovely weekend. I was largely out of town, out of pocket. It was nice. I did some light internet moments of like, what the fuck is going on? What a weird weekend to be offline. I feel like I don't, this was a crazy weekend to not be paying attention to the internet, but it was like every time I opened my phone, I was like, "Oh my god, okay. Whoa. Hello." Um so yeah, how was your weekend?
Yeah, I no same thing. Like, I mean, I didn't know. I forgot that I had. It's not like an annual thing we've done, but we're gonna start doing it, which we have like a bunch of cousins that are within like an hour or two of each other. And one day we're just gonna get together and like kind of, party and drink. And I actually recorded a lot of the interactions because I have a pretty political family, so I haven't gone through the footage. There were some like really good conversations, and I'm not much of a drinker. Like I'm a really cheap date. Like it's just I've never really enjoyed it, like thankfully. Um I much more of a gardener, if you know what I mean. But my thing is like generally I think there are something to be said about like filming when people aren't paying attention. The candid stuff, I think, is like really, really just insight into consciousness sometimes, and I just find it so interesting because people are not lucid, when they're making these. They're in the midst, in the middle of a conversation. Some things and some other things involved, some external things involved, and it makes for like it's such a portrait. I don't know how else to put it. It's like a tapestry that you get to like kind of look at
That's
different
so
parts of the night.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, really, honestly, it is. It's like so many different people, so many different conversations going on. You can hear it. I'm not filming anyone's face most of the time. It's just like filming my face and hearing people talking in the background. I just feel like it's a very interesting social experiment.
Oh, that's a good way to do it. I wanna say something about that, but first,
Yeah,
Lydia on TikTok is saying, "If anybody else wants to watch us on Twitch, just type in either one of our usernames, and you should be able to see the stream on either of our pages." And then if anybody who's in the Twitch chat who happens to be in my stream, let me know if the audio is janky, just so I think I have that fixed, but I just wanna make sure. Um,
I'm gonna make more videos too
but yeah.
about like the Twitch pipeline because people really should be coming on Twitch more for this. This is it's much better experience for y'all.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I also it was funny, I was with a lot of my friends who are like not super political or different, I guess different, who are not super political, but then having the conversations where we're like catching them up on political topics. Like there was a moment, I don't know if my friend Jesse's in the chat sometimes. There was a moment where somebody was asking about the Free State Project and Jesse just started laughing and looked at me and I was like, I'm not taking this one. I'm off the clock. Somebody else can explain what the Free State Project is in this group gathering right now. But it is funny. I would have I'm always tempted to make that kind of content, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like people get sensitive about it sometimes, so I don't want to put everybody on blast. But it's very interesting getting the perspectives of folks who are not in that deeply online space like we are. Like somebody brought up so I was on a mom for those who don't know, I was on a mom's weekend away with some of my close mom friends, and all of us are very politically aligned, but we're just on a spectrum of sort of politically active, and I'm certainly on a far end of the spectrum. And somebody in the group was like, "I realized we haven't even talked about what happened with Charlie Kirk yet. I don't know what any of you all think." And so I kind of like let other people speak to it, and then I was like, "Okay, guys." So I'm gonna pull out the tinfoil here. Put on the
Yeah,
tinfoil headband
yeah.
and like yeah. So, but it is always interesting to sort of like connect with a group in that way and sort of like get a pulse check of people in real time. Yeah. So I'm glad we both got to connect with human beings outside of this
Yeah, our
internet
bubble.
space this
Yeah,
weekend.
absolutely. I feel like you're and now that we mention it, I had a couple cousins there from Virginia who are government workers, they're federal workers, and I got a little bit of insight on like the federal work crew and like because you hear so much stuff about when the government shuts down and the federal workforce is under threat, their jobs are being furloughed, some are being fired, what their general political viewpoints are, and it's pretty mixed. I mean, I always thought it was probably they make it always sound like it's like a bunch of liberals that have government jobs, right? But like even in like intelligence spaces and a lot of government like police spaces, it's Republican usually. I mean, that's generally the people that get into law enforcement. It's not like a science, but it's generally true. But that being said, I think it's so funny you brought up Charlie Kirk too, because wasn't Charlie Kirk like one of those seminal moments? Like it was something that awoke a lot of people who didn't know. I mean, a lot of us who are anything political, we know who Charlie Kirk was. The people who were not online, the people that you just mentioned, right? Like my cousin in Canada who isn't really paying attention to New Hampshire to American politics is like asking me about Charlie Kirk. She's like, are political analysts getting shot in America for their views? She's not right wing either. This is like a legit question she's asking. So I find it very. I knew you were probably going to go in that direction with because that's like the one like it opens the conversation for a whole group of people on a spectrum, like you said.
This is just a quick aside and then we
Yeah.
can get into the agenda, but when I get into the agenda,
Yeah. Yeah.
but when like the day that he got shot, I was getting my hair cut and I was sitting in the chair and I got the alert on my Apple Watch and I'm like, "Oh shit." And I like said what I saw and my hairdresser was like, "I have no idea who that is." And then the next time I saw her, she was like, "Oh my gosh, remember what happened last time you were here? And she had learned all about it, and it had become she, like, remembered finding out about it because I was just sitting in her chair and told her because I got the notification on my Apple Watch. But it's just funny how, like, yeah, you're right. I do feel like that was a moment, a turning point moment, no pun intended, of
Oh,
culturally
there's
our awareness and where
so
we're at.
many things I could get in trouble right there for me. Too bad they can't fire me from my job. But but yeah, no, yeah, very interesting time. But yeah, no, I mean, so much happened. So we've been talking a lot about New Hampshire stuff. Let me get ready for this. All right, we've been talking so much
Let's
about
do it.
this New Hampshire real political stuff. And you listen here. I made this, by the way. Okay, first of all, and a lot of news came down the pipe this weekend, and we're here to help you through it. We're going to help you get through the real news, what's real, what's fake, and how you can slay that uncle you're going to see at Thanksgiving that you might not see again for another year. But you're going to give him the facts of what's going on. And I'm excited to share this with you. What do you think, Marissa? Are you ready? You've been disconnected from the internet. If you've been following
I
the
am.
rules,
So
you should be disconnected as well. So I hope this could be educating a life on the seas, an educating life on the seas for you.
I love it. I told Arya last night, I was like, I have like the smallest amount of information about all of these things. So catch me. Let's do a rapid fire version of like what the fuck happened this weekend and what's going on.
That sounds great. So I'm going to start with, I think, the most important piece of news, or I think the not important, I would say, but most newsworthy thing I think that has come out of, or what people are talking about the most. And I'm going to play it real quick.
Struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America.
For months, Trump branded Mamdani as an extremist, but not anymore.
I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be
Joe
great
says
again.
you need a tinfoil
Reporters
mustache.
pressing Mamdani on calling Trump a fascist,
I think that's the move.
but in a
I
stunning
was gonna try to reply
moment,
in
the
chat, but
president
since
jumping
you're
into
pulling stuff
help.
up, I
Are
would just
you
like to announce
affirming that you
for the
think
full
President Trump
class,
is a
but I think
fascist?
the tinfoil
I've spoken
mustache
about
is
That's
the
okay. You can just say
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And the billionaire president asked if he'd be comfortable
down.
living in New York under Mamdani.
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
You're pulling something up, right?
But guys,
I just had
the
a moment
big
where I was like, he's
question
not
is-
waiting for me to talk, right?
Oh yeah, it's oh, you guys can't see it. I don't know why this
City.
I don't know why
But
this
now
doesn't
the two
work
men
sometimes. The
smiling,
sharing like
joking,
lags
and
out. I'm
shaking
sorry.
hands in the
Thank you
Oval
for saying
Office.
something here.
I was
feel
like,
very
I
confident that he can
zoned
do a
out
very
for
good
like
job.
10 seconds while I was
I
looking
think
at
he's
the
going to
chat.
be. I think he's
hope
going
this
to
is-
How about
surprise
now?
some conservative people. Actually,
Mamdani says they focused on the issue that
You guys
fueled
see it now?
his victory and even drew some
Yes.
Trump voters, the cost of living.
The 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America.
For months, Trump branded Mamdani as an extremist, but not anymore.
I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who wants
This is so weird.
really wants to see New York be great.
So weird
again.
to see.
Reporters
Not
pressing
that weird, I guess.
Mamdani on
We'll talk
calling
about it.
Trump a fascist, but in a stunning moment, the president jumping in to help.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about.
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. It's easier. It's
Yes.
easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And the billionaire president asked if he'd be comfortable living in New York under Mamdani.
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
All right, that's good enough. So, Marissa, thoughts on this? So, the story, just to give you the story, obviously, if you guys aren't aware, Zoran met President Trump, which
He's
is
off camera.
which is common to do for the New York mayor, the mayor-elect, to meet the president, and they met, and obviously this didn't go the way a lot of people thought it was going to go. So, what do you think?
Okay, that was great. Like crazy. That's a crazy thing to like open your phone at midnight on Friday and be like, "What? What?" So we'll talk about I want to talk about the congressional vote piece of it separately because I do think that's like basically related, but seeing that seeing that interaction after the week where we had just spent all week talking about Donald Trump and Bubba And then to see that, like, it was just kind of like I was having one of those moments where I was like, "What planet am I living on? This is crazy." This man is, like, in the best mood after all of us are talking about Epstein files all week, and then he's meeting and so, like, the political piece of it aside, I'm just like, "Why is he so happy? What is going on? Like, why is Trump kicking his feet? This is so bizarre to see." Um, I don't know if it's like I don't what's your read out? Like, is this a dementia moment? Like, what is happening?
It's I don't think it's I don't think it's that though. I do think I mean there's a whole section of TikTok that is thinking that like he's 4 to 6 months away from getting bedridden, like and like there are like prominent doctors here. I'm not saying it's true, but I know there's I mean based on his actions, it's obvious that like all his faculties or his faculties are slowly going. It's so funny. So first, just before I get into the serious part here, let me just keep my hat on. What Sinahan said in chat is exactly what my sister said. My sister is a Libra. She's October 10th Libra. I'm a Gemini, and she's like, this is Libra Gemini energy. You know, like is Trump a Gemini? Because I tend to, yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about astrology. I just know that apparently I'm a Gemini, and I like Libras a lot. I like talking to Libras a lot. They're very I don't know, intoxicating or something, you know, and like that would explain what happened in that room. A little bit of intoxication, a little bit of charm, a little bit of charm technique, and that's what it is, man. Zoran's a charmer, dude. That's what you have to be when your name is Zoran Mamdani and you're running for New York City. Okay, this is an accrued skill that he had to sharpen over years and years. This is not something and I want people to be I want to be very clear to people here, okay? Because there's a whole bunch of people who think Zoran capitulated here. Zoran came into that room and shook the hands of a fascist. Brother, what the fuck you think you're supposed to do when you're in the room with the fascist? With his, again, someone said it perfectly, a little fascist sitting at his table with his toy plane on his table, you know, in front of all the reporters. And they're asking him, the Breitbart reporters are asking Zoran, hey, didn't you call that guy a fascist? You know, they're like literally just setting every trap for him, and he's just smiling. You know, well, he's ready to answer the question. You see, like he's not even waiting to answer the question, and Trump's like, "Don't worry about that, man. You can say yes. I am a fascist." You know, like it's so fucking surreal.
It's, like, really hard to it's, like, one of those things that it's, like, you watch it, and it's hard to reconcile in your brain that it's real. Somebody in the comments pointed out that, like, Zoran's got Trump dressing like him now. I don't know if you saw that, where he was
Oh
wearing,
yeah,
like, this
yeah, the
maroon, like,
turtleneck.
turtleneck, and, like, it's, like, so silly, right? I'm like, "How is this real? This feels way too silly to be real. I can't get over it." But it's impressive, right? And it's like a masterclass, especially considering how many people we have seen groveling to this president and he cannot give a fuck about them. He could not give less of a fuck. But then Zoran comes in there and he's like, I am not going to try. I'm going to call you a fascist to your face. And he's just like kicking his feet and giggling. And it's very strange, and it also, I kind of think speaks I don't have, like, a smart point of view on this yet. My brain is still stuck on kind of how funny it is and how bizarre and hard to, like, comprehend it is. But I do think there's something to be said for, like, the idea that when you get somebody who can communicate very clearly in a room with somebody like that, somebody like Trump, and actually just kind of like, I don't think Trump is smart, especially at this point, right? Like, I think
No.
we can all agree on that, right? And so when he's sitting down with a person who is very smart and who is explaining some of these policies to him in words he can understand, he's like, "Yeah, that makes sense. I totally agree." And I think that is a lesson we should all be taking, right? Is that like we should all be able to sit in a room with somebody like that and actually explain these policies because all these people have so much propaganda in their heads about what socialism means and handouts and how nobody wants to work. Like we all have everybody these people on the right have these misconceptions that are just not true. And so if you have the capacity to sit down with these people and help like guide them through, like help get them there and say like, hey, we can agree on this, right? We can agree on X, Y, and Z. that's a really powerful way to start making progress because these policies are popular, and I think that's a perfect example of how like these policies are common sense. Even the dumbest person in the world who is in our White House right now understands that and was like essentially sold democratic socialism and was like, "Yep, that makes sense to me." I think there's great power in that, and I think we should all be like, "All right, yeah, I should be able to do that too. If he can do that with Trump, I can do that with my weird uncle." I don't have any weird uncles, to be clear, in case this comes across anyone's page. I'm not calling any of my uncles weird.
No, I mean,
Just
there is,
theoretically.
I, I, I mean, I think like it's simple and it's complicated, right? Like I think from Mamdani's side, it's complicated. I think what he did was like a master class. Like it wasn't random, it wasn't coincidental, none of that. Like there was planning in everything he did. On Trump's side, I don't think there was any planning at all. Trump, that's how Trump is. Like when he's tweeting at you, he's a savage. But when he's in a room with you, he's like not like that ever. I mean, like Gavin Newsom. I mean, like people that he is constantly at odds with. When he's in a room with someone, he becomes a little baby. You just gotta like kiss his feet a little bit. You gotta shower the boy, talk nice about him. And listen, Trump still owns businesses in New York City, man. You know, like he's still like he's a populist still, even a fake one, right? So like this glow, and this isn't my idea. I forget where I don't know where I heard this. I want to give credit to wherever I heard this take, but like Zoran has a glow right now, and that's the populism glow, right? It's like he has the glow around the country, regardless of your the letter in front of your name. There's this mysterious thing about him. He's got this like aura
Like that.
because he talks about the things that everyone loves. He excites people. He's got, you know, the affordability message. Remember, Trump ran on affordability. It's not affordable for anyone right now, and he's feeling it. So he better make nice with the real populist because he's gonna like leave him in his wake. There is a little bit of strategy here. And again, if you just want to look into the weeds of how, and I want to like touch on, I'll bring in the letter here too, which is very connected to this idea, right? Which is, this is more of a classist thing. Yeah. Get ready for this.
Paige was asking about the tinfoil. It's the tinfoil hat, Paige, because
Yeah, it's a
Arya's got
tinfoil
the
hat
tinfoil
time.
hat on today. For those who are coming in
Exactly.
late, Arya's catching me up on the news of the weekend as I attempted to stay offline, and things got extremely fucking weird, and that's where we're at. And then I'm gonna let you get back to talking, but I just want to say I want populist glow on like a t-shirt. I feel like there's like some kind of branding we can do with like,
Oh yeah.
I got that populist glow, baby. That's the
Damn.
confidence you have when you know we just care about the
Damn,
right things.
why are you
Anyway.
saying that on live? Someone's printing that t-shirt as we speak. That's crazy.
No, trademark, baby. I claim it on Arya's behalf. I get 40% of any profit.
Shit. See, now we're talking about profit. I can't
Sorry,
think now.
I
But
interrupted you, and
you
I
got my
didn't do
tinfoil
you the
hat going
favor of.
crazy. No. But there are like, so there are multiple storylines going on with this story, with the Trump Zoran story. The main one they were trying to distract you with is like, look at how much they like each other. You know, that's like the kind of aesthetic like media push. But MAGA is pissed. The people who actually care about the crazy stuff Trump says, because Trump says, by now I hope none of you believe that Trump is like an ideologue. Like the man is a narcissist grifter, right? Like this is he is like a shell of, he is the epitome of shell capitalism, right? Like it's just, he has faked it till he made it. He has charisma. That's it. Right? So like people are noticing that he's not giving them the stuff that he promised, and Zoran won on the stuff that he promised. So that is the kind of the underlying connection here, that this is a class issue right now that's going on. This is an underlying classist conversation. And Trump, as crazy as you think he looked in that room, that man is a savage too. I can't tell when he's going into sundowning or if he's having dementia. I honestly can't tell the difference because there is a lot of, he has a lot of like, he's bulletproof. He's Teflon Don. He's done a lot of stuff, and he is where he is now. So I can't say, but like if you think that he has made it where he is by not being who he was in that room, Trump even, is like very important to know that he also knows that the billionaires are trying before they go in for the kill shot on Zoran, not literally, but like before they go on like the real trying to like the attack vector on Zoran, they're trying to get him to capitulate. For a while they were fear mongering. Now they're like, I would love to help Zoran. I would like, like the guys that were saying we should deport him are saying, let's help him. Maybe we can help him with New York City. They know as well that they're, as much as he has populism glow, they have capitalist stink, right? You get that close into that aura, you get into that orbit of Zoran, you are stinking that man up. Trump is like, first of all, Trump treated Zoran, and this is the other part of it, Trump treated Zoran better than the Democratic Party did in that room. I want you to just think about that too. We all saw that Trump treated Zoran better in the Oval Office, the guy that was calling him a jihadist, than the entire Democratic Party did the entire fucking race.
You know what I felt watching this too, like on a larger scale, is like this was one of those moments where I was like, oh, we're watching the two-party system shatter. Like we're watching these lines that have been drawn shatter because for better, I'm not advocating that it's like a good thing in terms of what we saw, but like the way that we're seeing the ideological splits are not as clear as they once were because I think to your point, this idea of populism, this idea of working class values, nobody actually owns it, right? And nobody's actually doing a truthful job of speaking to it. And so when we see Trump and Zoran connecting on these populist ideas, it just goes to remind us that like we're in a full scramble on like what the Democratic Party values are versus what the Republican values are. Like that line does not exist in the same way it used to, and I think it's a massive opportunity for people who are running with a populist agenda to be appealing to people outside of this false binary of Republican and Democrat. So I think there's some like larger, I think it does something to sort of break down these barriers we've put up in our mind as well to see this kind of thing.
Absolutely. And I know I said I was going to share this. I'm going to share it now. I hope you guys, I don't know, can you see this? The little Facebook post. I'm going to read it if you're on TikTok. Nearly half of Democrat this is, okay, mind you, this is November 21st, a few hours before Zoran is going to meet Trump. Okay, this is not coincidence. There's no coincidences here. And there was a bill, like a resolution that went through the House. And this pretty much was to denounce socialism. It was a symbolic bill that said socialism bad. Okay, that's all it said. It was like socialism bad. Okay. So who voted for it? All the Republicans, obviously. But 86 Democrats voted for it. And can you guess who two of those Democrats were? Can you, Marissa? You take a guess. Take a wild guess.
I didn't even need to look. It was one of those things that like I saw this come up and I was like, I don't need to check. I know that Pappas and Goodlander are on there, like obviously, because they love to vote on this kind of stuff. And it speaks to what I was. Sorry, I'll let you get. I want
No,
you to get
please.
your spiel.
I've been talking a lot.
Also to what I was. It speaks to what I was just saying about these socialist ideas that are essentially appealing to people across both parties because all we're talking about is taking care of people and giving people human dignity, and that's appealing to all people, and it's a threat to the establishment. It's a threat to establishment Democrats that this is becoming popular, that this is becoming mainstream. And so yeah, of course Pappas and Goodlander were there because they benefit greatly from from being in the establishment, and they profit from it, and they don't want these socialist ideas to become popular because that's how they're going to lose the power seat that they have.
Absolutely. And none of us were surprised. And I want you to, okay, but this is where I want you guys to even dig deeper here, right? So like, let me tighten this up here. Okay. We talk a lot. There you go. Welcome to the team. Let's go. We all on this team now. All right, you guys ready for this? Ready for this kind of deep dive? Maggie Goodlander, okay, just recently No, I like it. I feel a
So
lot.
silly.
I feel
You
like
just got
I'm
really serious.
moving mountains now. I'm speaking to my people now, you know, so I have
All
to get a
right.
little more diplomatic here. I can't swear or anything either. All right, so
I'm ready.
so they want us to talk about this, right? They want us to talk about that. First of all, symbolic. This is those Democrats, those 86 Democrats, what they're telling you, what the message is, because I always want you to read behind the message, right? Or read between the lines. The message is here: we are more afraid of being labeled socialists by Republicans than we are working with progressives. That's the message they're telling you. The message they're sending you is, I would rather shake hands Maggie Goodlander, who has death threats against her right now from the Republican Party because Trump is tweeting, execute the 6 members of Congress who did the video. Who's the 6 members of Congress? It's Maggie Goodlander. So she's capitulating to the people who are calling for her death. How is this not controlled opposition? How is this not complete whiplash? Like, how are we not supposed to look at this? Isn't happening months apart. This is happening days apart. Like the news cycle hasn't moved on before the new news comes out. But it's like, it's so surreal to me that this is just happening in front of our eyes in real time.
It feels like things are happening really fast. Like this is very much a moment that feels like we didn't even like when we talked about it last week as it happened. I think that the president's tweet, their Truth Social posts and stuff like that felt like a huge turning point moment. Like you and I were chatting that morning and we're like shook. Like we're like, this is a big fucking deal. And this changes everything. And you're right, the way that it's not even the news cycle at this point, but the way that like the cards are like falling so quickly. Like it really is like, I don't know if anybody else is feeling this, but like I really am sincerely feeling like it's hard to process through every single event that we're seeing unfold in real time because so much is happening so quickly that yeah, to see that vote come out, it was like it was so crazy because we had literally just been talking about these incredible threats and then seeing um like why? What for what reason? That vote was such a waste of fucking time and also just like so shows where everybody's priorities are in this moment. Still, it's like they're seeing all this power slip away. They're seeing these structures start to crack, seeing uh the public perception change so quickly and like they're trying to grab, it's like they're grasping at sand that's slipping between their fingers. This feels like such a power grab and such a like transparent it just felt so transparent and it's like I can't, my brain can't keep up with like the logic of it all and it can't keep up with like all of this. I don't know. That is very much how I feel like coming back from this weekend is just like all this, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff too. But yeah, it was disappointing but not surprising to see that our New Hampshire congressional representation decided that like this was a good use of their time. But it does not surprise me considering that those two are continuing to prioritize anything except for the working class voters in their community that they represent. So that's all I got on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the last thing I wanna listen. I'm trying to, new Arya here, trying to like end everything with a little bit of hope. I think the new hope here, they outed themselves. You know what we talk about every other day? We talk about what's the key here. The key here is excitement, and we can't get people out to vote, and there isn't energy. And our new thing, or not new thing, something that we have been talking about a lot is the primaries and how primarying people is going to be so important. And there you go. There's your 86 Democrats that need to be primary today. Today. You want to go on a Tea Party run in this country? They just outed themselves. Those 86 outed themselves. I'd be damned if any of you found someone on that list that you really, really liked. And if you did, welcome to the resistance. Okay, I haven't looked at a whole lot of those names. The ones that I saw specifically right away were obviously Hakeem Jeffries. Saw R2. I specifically went and looked for R2 representatives because I just wanted to make sure, and there they were. So
Of course.
yeah, of course, as is
Right where you
tradition.
expect them.
So I want, again, to be that. That's the messaging I want to give to people, is that, listen, okay, like this did nothing. I mean, for us, we already knew, right? I mean, we knew. This isn't like, oh my God, these guys hate socialism. How do we know? These are the centrist capitalist Democrats, okay? These are the people that we have always been complaining about. But what they did now is they put themselves on a list. They literally put themselves on a list for us to campaign against now. That's the list. This is the list now. You wanna go on a populist run in this country, you target those 86 Democrats in primaries. And maybe we start doing videos talking about who these people are and what keeps them in common. I imagine there's other things in common, like PAC money and APAC and all that jazz, right? I'm not gonna be so surprised about that. But anything last thing to say on this topic before we move on?
No, let's move on, because I feel like this ties into some of the other stuff too. Like, so I'm thinking about all the Twitter accounts and the sort of foreign Twitter accounts of it all.
Absolutely. So let's move on to that right now. Boom, boom. All right, let's just make sure you guys see it before I play it.
I can see it.
All right, here we go.
Now, because Twitter, which prefers to identify as X, released this new feature in which you could actually see the country of origin of an account, and it's now being revealed that a lot of these MAGA accounts out there with hundreds of thousands of followers that have a big influence online are actually based in other countries. The way my jaw stayed in place. So I could literally go through like 1,000 of these accounts, but I'll show you just a few. Like this account, America First Verified. Well, turns out this account is based in Bangladesh. How about America Man, based in Indonesia? What about MAGA Nadine over here? Oh, it's probably some dude based in Morocco. Okay, Mary Tiles, Texas, you sure post a lot of pro-MAGA stuff online. Oh wait, you're from Russia? Interesting. Like I said, I could keep going and going. Nigeria. This is a major account that always gets Elon Musk's attention. This is based in India. This Ivanka Trump fan account based in Nigeria. This big MAGA account is based in Papua New Guinea. This one's from Serbia. Ultra MAGA Trump 2028, Nigeria. Dark MAGA Coin, Thailand. The MAGA Beacon, South Asia. MAGA Nation,
This
Eastern
is so
Europe.
funny.
Aaron Trump News, Eastern Europe. I think this definitely confirms what a lot of us thought but couldn't definitively prove, but now this feature is live. If you're on Twitter, if you're on X, you can...
Thoughts on that, Marissa?
So this is, you pinged me about this one. You're bad. We did a little bit of side politics talk, but just a little bit. Just because I'm like I'm popping in and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Okay, you immediately were like, this is a big deal. I was like, I feel like this is just like par for this is what he said, right? This is basically like validating what a lot of us already knew, right? Is that so much of this online activity is generated either by bot or by foreign actor, right? And I think what really jumped out to me was it the Department of Homeland Security account that was based in Tel Aviv? Like the amount of, and then I saw, now I don't know if this one's somebody fact check me, but I saw this morning that like, no, now I'm going to say it out loud and I'm like, that can't be real. But like, I saw that Mariah Carey's account was generated in Israel. I don't know if that one's real. Someone tell me if that one's just AI. That was what was also hard about this weekend, is I'm just like, what the fuck is real? What the fuck is AI? You cannot tell anymore. And so like, I'm trying to quickly catch up on what's going on, and it's just like wild. But that was real, right, Arya? The DHS being generated
Israel.
In Israel. That account started in Israel, correct?
Yep.
That's real.
Yep. And again, I want you guys to be aware.
That's why we're wearing tinfoil hats.
Yep. And let me tell you guys something, okay? Everything you said, Marissa, real. Everything you said is true. A lot of people are still, again, when we talk so much about how Democrats are so fucking terrible at messaging, right? Like, when they were talking about Russia and Trump, that impeachment, that investigation that first time, this is what they were talking about. They weren't talking about Russians getting into the voting systems. They were talking about them creating orchestrated internet campaigns to capture large parts of America because we are stupid. We do not have media literacy. Seriously, we don't have reading comprehension. They know that. The whole idea to deregulate AI is because it gives them deniability. It allows them to make Marissa question everything that she sees, question the veracity of everything. There's audio calls of Trump that are out right now about him yelling at people about you don't know if it's real. How will you ever know that it's real? Because now, even again, the places that you used to go to depend on that realness, places like CBS, are taken over by white nationalists now. CBS is Barry Weiss and her white nationalist crew in there. So they're doing articles about how Christmas cards, if you saw one of my most viral videos recently, how Christmas cards are being sent to a racist town that says, I want Nazi heads under my tree. That's a news article in CBS now. Like, this is so shocking, you know? So it is so important. I keep talking about how important we are in the battleground of information. And again, I hate to bring this up now, but it's important that you all know this constantly. This is Midas touch. These guys are former Republicans. They are now one of the kind of the flag bearers of the liberal establishment. This dude doesn't say Israel one time in this video. And probably the most damning information coming out of this story is Israel is in a ton of these government accounts. This should be the canary in the coal mine. Like, yes, we know there are Nigerian princes that have been scamming Americans since before the internet, right? Like, you remember those? I'm not bringing that up for Nigeria. You remember that before the internet, you used to have those scams.
Yeah, it was a thing.
You know, the email scams or whatever. Like, this is how it works now. And again, there's so much layering of bullshit here on multiple ends, right? But the scary thing, right? I think the most important thing, right? And I just, in a vacuum, everything that you said, Marissa, is completely correct. Most of us knew this. It was just we couldn't explain it to people who would never believe us to begin with. But this came out on Elon Musk's site. He's your boy. That's your boy. There's no one else. Sorry, I'm getting excited here. There's no one else that could do this on their website that would have any type of gravitas. If this happened on I don't know, if this happened on Blue Sky or on Facebook, they'd be like, Zuckerberg is trying to screw MAGA now. We know that's what he's doing. He's trying to, but it was on Musk's site. And they took it down as soon as these accounts started complaining and being like, you just doxed us, bro. Like, essentially, you just doxed us. They like removed the feature, and they did something to the feature. And now I think you'd have to go double check, but I don't think you can do it for every account now. I don't think you can go and find out the origination for sure anymore.
They turned it off, I think, for like government accounts or something like that.
Of course.
But no, I completely like echo what you're saying, and this is where the tinfoil hats are coming in. And like, it's important. For me, it's important to share the context that like I have a very deep appreciation for news media. Like, I was a journalist. Like, I studied journalism in college. I like very much like respect the integrity and work that like journalism that real good journalists do. But when I say that we're in like this post-truth era, that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like, people like Midas Touch and Aaron Parnas are who a lot of us are looking to for information now, because you're right, like Barry Weiss running the show over at CBS. I didn't even know that. Somebody told me that the other day and I was like, what? Because I was a big online Twitter person in 2013. So I'm like, Barry Weiss, the Twitter troll? Are you serious? And it's like that, like the amount of influence these people have that are intentionally obfuscating the reality of what we're seeing. They are not telling the full story, and they're doing it with intent, right? With intent to manipulate. And so, when I say that, like, somebody in the comments was talking about that the photo of Bill with Donald Trump, right? Is like that there I saw a lot of back and forth about if that was true or not. I feel like this is giving me a headache. Um I we just don't know if that's it seems like we still don't it's likely AI, but again, like I've seen people going back and forth and people are using these AI detection tools, and those are not reliable. They're not. Like I work in this space, and so I'm like I'm more educated than the average bear about AI and spotting AI. And so I've been talking about this for a long time now, and people will always ask, how do we tell? How can we know? You can't, guys. There's no sometimes yes, sometimes you can, but even, I saw people who were running it through different through Gemini, people running these photos, and like Gemini gave an answer about a specific watermark that you can see on certain images, and I just don't know how AI lies, right? That's the thing, is so people will get results and they'll be like, well, this is what it says, so this is how it has to work. That's not true. Gemini might be lying to you about Gemini's capabilities, right? So there isn't an easy answer, and so people will ask, like, what's the solution? And it's like, without trusted media institutions, which the right has also been actively dismantling for years, our corporate, and not even the right, but like corporations, our corporate overlords have been dismantling local journalism. They've been dismantling national journalism. And so now we're in this situation where we all have access to this very, very dangerous technology that is extremely powerful and is already like sending things off the rails. And I feel like this weekend, things really went off the rails. Like the amount of stuff that I was seeing on my feed being treated as truth, or then people saying like, oh no, but here's how you find out if it's real with full confidence. And I'm like, you're not correct. Like, you cannot trust these tools. You cannot trust them to be honest with you. And so the reality is, and like, I think people should this is something people need to bring to their Thanksgiving table, is like, we have to like find new ways of verifying truth, or also, and also at the same time, we have to get comfortable with the idea that like we are living in a very fractured reality where people are going to be using media to manipulate us, and there is very little recourse we have at this point, right? Like the train is out of the train has left the station. There is no interest at a federal level in regulating this kind of technology. I think we need to be pushing our progressive leaders and our progressive candidates to be talking about this and learning more about it, because there needs to be some regulation. Regulation is not being done on the corporate level. Absolutely, there's no self-regulation happening. So it's scary, and I'm sorry to kind of like, this is now, maybe now I'm taking Arya's negativity mantle here, but it's not to be negative. Rather, I think we all need to work together and be like, what does that reality look like now when this is all in the world? We've seen now how it can impact a news cycle. What do we do? I don't have the answer to that, but I kind of want everybody to like on get on that level with me of like, we have to kind of figure this out together. Lydia, Marissa, Aria, are you real? Are you manipulating New Hampshire? Am I real? I mean, we are trying to manipulate New Hampshire for the good, but
For
we'll
sure.
tell you all that. We'll tell you exactly how we're trying to manipulate you. We're just trying to manipulate you into like helping your neighbors.
Ethical
Sorry.
manipulation. You know?
Exactly.
This is ethical manipulation.
Yeah.
We're
Paige, we'll chat about
manipulating you to be a
AI.
good person.
I gotta think about it. I was thinking about it a lot this weekend, and I almost sort of put something out on LinkedIn, because like I do have a lot of like, I work in this space. I know a lot of people who are very smart on this topic, but they don't want to, the folks who work in AI don't want to touch this, because it's such a third rail, politics in general is such a third rail topic. They don't want to, they're like, this isn't our responsibility. Like nobody wants to talk about it. So people from the corporate side don't want to talk about it. And then like there's a lot of people on the left don't want to talk about it because they have a very absolutist mentality about using AI. And so it's leaving us in this very scary moment where it's like, who are the adults in the room? There are no adults there's no adults. I'm so sorry. It is all simulation. Agreed.
So I mean, I listen, I have multiple videos, and I mean, talking about it with you right before Paige said something in the chat, I was thinking this would be such a winning campaign platform right now. Like right now, with everything that is going on, the amount of discourse that is happening around this issue. And again, like I'm thinking of it just from a like there is like when capitalism is in charge of this, we're gonna destroy ourselves, right? And if you were just gonna go based on data, just what the data is showing us, we are seeing so many issues with children that have been raised on screens, right? We are starting to see their emotional dysregulation. We're starting to see like a whole influx of like an incel generation that's not dealing with their emotional regulating. There is people are less social, they're more depressed, and this is when children's brains are developing, right? So like we don't even know what this really is going to look like 10, 20, 30 years down the line when these children become full-fledged adults and seniors or whatever. And I do believe the internet is single-handedly the most dangerous thing on more dangerous to earth than climate change, because you can use the internet to convince people climate change ain't real. You can use the internet and this is what these billionaires have learned. Again, I want people to think about Russia post USSR. If you ever want to do research on where I think America's going, if you were not to stop it, it's going towards what Russia did post USSR. When they broke up, Russia started going super isolationist, started looking super inward, had a national police, had to release prisoners to join. I think this administration might not be far away from letting out prisoners or offering citizenship for people to join ICE because they're struggling so bad. And that's what Russia did. That's what their oligarchs did. We have our own oligarchs here. Those are the tech giants. Those are the technocrats. They all looked at Elon Musk. Every single one of them looked at Elon Musk, what he did at Twitter, and everyone shat on Elon Musk for losing whatever he lost in that deal. What, $30 billion? How much money do you think he made for controlling one of the biggest internet town squares on earth? I guarantee you he's made 100 times what he lost in that deal because he controlled the megaphone. And what these other people are seeing, the Larry Ellisons, all these people, they're seeing the same thing. That's why CBS has new owners. That's why Barry Weiss is the new editor-in-chief of CBS. This is the way they are thinking now, that if they control this area of information, again, she is a super pro-Zionist, Barry Weiss. Like, she was one of the main perpetrators of like the babies in ovens lies in Israel. She was one of the major, like the most respected voices in the journalism world that was perpetrating that. So it's like a special kind of power that she had there. And there's a reason why she got hired here from the Free Press or whatever it was. And it was like a shell company that they bought. And it's just none of it looks good. And they're realizing that this is the last bastion of like control. Like, like you can have all the money in the world. You can't control the discourse, but owning all the media, you might be able to. Start questioning everything. You people literally are going to start questioning everything. And I think that's the best possible thing that could happen for them.
Agreed. But I get like literally like nauseous when I think about this too much. Like
absolutely.
It's
So let's
it
move
really
on.
is like, it's like, yeah, let's move on. It's like very destabilizing, but like we're all in it together. We're figuring it out. I've got
these are not,
it's fine.
And I want to just keep reiterating, I'm not here to scare you, seriously. I want these things to be actionable. I want to educate you ultimately that like there is a story behind the story behind the story, right? It's not even the first layer. There's a story behind that layer that is going on, and they're trying to manipulate you openly. And like, it's not, once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it. You'll start seeing it everywhere.
And it's highly relevant.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
super relevant to us here in New Hampshire because we have representatives that are so embedded in all of this, right? Financially, they're embedded in this. They're always aligning with these folks. So yeah, I think it's very relevant. And yeah, exactly. Like there are way more of us than there are of them. And that's why like, yeah, this is what fuels my fire with all of this stuff, because ultimately they're trying to manipulate us. So they're throwing everything they have right now. What?
No, I feel like I'm being yelled at when I come to these. I'm so already angry. Like, I'm so sorry.
I feel like they're throwing everything right now, though, at the wall because it's all falling apart, right? It's because we are all waking up to the reality that, like, hey, we have enough money in this country to take care of everyone. We have enough money in this country to give everyone healthcare, to get everyone housing, to make sure everyone is taken care of and treated with human dignity. And we're choosing not to do that. And so that's we're living through this like great change, and I think that's really exciting, and that gives me energy.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
And
yelling at that.
I want to, so I don't want to get to, so we've been talking a lot about this. I do want to get back to the free state stuff. Let's talk about one other big thing that I feel like is not really, I don't know how much of the consciousness it's cracked of the general public. Obviously, I'm a little bit sensitive to this. I've been talking about this a little bit as well, but I don't know how much other people or social media is aware of this. So can you guys see this? Do you see this right now?
Spray our people. We'll show them what's up. There's a pedophile and a rapist.
I thought that was a little bit longer.
In 1900,
This is just another.
the world was 30% white. Fast forward 125 years, we are down to 7%. The Islamification of Europe is particularly aimed at the destruction of white people. The Islamification of America is aiming to meet the same goal. Our people, white Christian, European, Western civilization, we built the arts. We built the Colosseum. We have ran the world into the industrial age. And now, this people here, the Muslim community, is looking to drag us back. They're looking to oppress women, oppress homosexuals. They're looking.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it. I'm just gonna stop it there because it is. Listen, Islamophobia. Obviously, it fucking grinds my gears, right? That's obvious. That for
Can you do a quick recap for TikTok?
real reasons. Yeah. No. Basically, for those that can't see this, there is an orchestrated hate campaign going on in Dearborn, Michigan right now, an anti-Muslim Islamophobic hate campaign. I don't know if they're still there right now, but basically it was organized by some of the same people who were in the January 6th insurrection that were pardoned. You know, probably a lot of them are in the ICE, or probably have been recruited into ICE as well, they think. And basically they were sent to Dearborn. Why Dearborn? Dearborn, Michigan. It is the largest Arab community in America. I think there are like 60,000 Arabs there. It's like 110,000 people, and something like 55%, don't quote me on the exact numbers, are Arab. And they recently, in the 2024 election, there was like a pretty big anti-Kamala vote there. I mean, it was like 40% voted Trump, and then like 18% voted Jill Stein, which was like very above average for her numbers across the country. And then, you know, Kamala was around 32% or something like that, or 22%. And it was obviously messaging because of the campaign or whatever. And there's been, you know, a lot of talk on both sides. But basically, this group descended, this white nationalist Christian group descended on Dearborn, Michigan, and like we're lighting Korans on fire on the street. We're sticking bacon in the face of Muslims. In like, again, this is like, it's got a Muslim mayor. This is like the biggest, it's like going to the biggest, you know, would be akin to going to the biggest Jewish community in America, wherever that is, maybe Beverly Hills or something, or somewhere in LA or New York, and going and like walking around with it's like Jews will not replace us, like they did in Charlottesville. Imagine that, doing that in like a Jewish neighborhood. Imagine there's so many things that are crazy here, but I think the thing that sticks out to me is like how there's kind of this lack of not only just context as to what's going on there, like this is state sanctioned terror, like state sanctioned. This is supported by MAGA because they're losing this kind of pro-Israel position. The country isn't really pro-Israel anymore, so they're like finding another way to attack that issue. Now they're attacking Muslims again. The Islamophobia is like through the roof. And that same day, again, I don't want to like, I don't have to shove it in your faces. Like it exists out there if you want to go see it. But on the same day, another video came out in Florida where there were like 10 University of Central Florida or University of Southern Florida Muslim kids who were praying. And these 4 white guys just got in front of their face while they were praying with bacon and started saying like Muhammad is a pedophile and like just screaming at them on camera. And I'm sitting here thinking like, could you just imagine for a second, any other group getting treated like this? I'm not saying other groups don't get wildly abused in America, but like, this is like celebrated behavior. It's like even the videos that I saw that were they weren't condemning what was happening in Dearborn. Like the liberal accounts were like saying, what did you expect would happen when you voted for Trump? There's no other community that gets treated like that here. Like there's no way you could go out into an African American community, scream the N word. Obviously, you should never do that. But let's say someone was stupid enough to go do that on camera, the entire country would condemn that with no specific. There's no like qualifiers to the condemnation here. But I just feel like, again, and I know some people are just sick of hearing me talk about it, but this has to do with Gaza. Again, this has to do with Gaza. If you are willing to do that to people living in Gaza, what the fuck are we willing to do to Muslims here, man? Yeah, you're seeing it. You're seeing it. Like it's like, look at the way liberals talk about it sometimes. It's like, look at these weird Christian guys trying to make a scene in Dearborn. Make a scene, brother. This is a hate crime. This is terrorism. What the fuck you mean make a scene? Every Middle Eastern person you put in a movie has a ticking clock next to them and a fucking beard. What do you mean this is a scene? This is terrorism. And it just, I don't know how much, I don't know how I'm supposed to, like, how people expect Middle Eastern people in this country to think that you're the good guy. Like that's supposed to convince them that not voting for Kamala Harris was the wrong move. Like you aren't solidifying that you both hate them equally. If you had the chance, you'd probably deport them too. That's how it makes me feel. I hate it. But it's just real. I don't know how else I'm supposed to feel.
I think you're right. Like this stuff doesn't make it into the awareness of a lot of people too. But you're absolutely right. I think the way that we treat this specific brand of racism is very different than how we treat uh how we treat it when we see it elsewhere. And I think you're right. It feels to me at least that this is ramping up as a reaction to public sentiment shifting in support of people in Palestine right now and in support of people that are living in Gaza. And it absolutely is obviously unacceptable. And then obviously it's frustrating to see that the way that we're treating this when we see it is much different. And you're right. It's like we treat it as like, oh, they're causing a ruckus, but we're not treating as this is a fucking hate crime. This is absolutely unacceptable. And so I appreciate you for bringing this kind of to all of our attention because I also think there's a big overlap between the types of groups we're seeing in Dearborn and types of groups we see pop up here in New Hampshire, right? And so
Absolutely.
what we're seeing happening there is likely what we can anticipate happening closer to home as well. And so we all need to be vigilant to this type of this type of violence that we're seeing.
Absolutely. And I just, I want to be really like, I appreciate you letting me like talk about this. And I just want to be cognizant that like, I know that like, I can't compare this experience to other people's experiences, and I'm not. Like, I'm not saying anyone else's experience is any better or any worse. I know the privilege I have too with my skin tone, because again, like I can identify, I am identified in multiple ways, and I I I don't want other people to feel like it takes away from their own struggle. I know everyone has their own struggle. There's a whole bunch of marginalized communities, but I do think there is just this unique thing right now going on with Islamophobia that there's just it's almost like it's not just condoned. It's not just not condemned, it's condoned, almost like celebrated. Like when you talk about the, and again, like the reason I stopped it here at this specific point is this guy got up here and he said they oppress women. They oppress gay, like the LGBTQ. This fucking Christian nationalist evangelical fuck wants to tell you about how Muslims oppress gay people and how they oppress women, right? I just want you guys to remember that these are Talibangelicals, okay? You don't have to think about Iran or Saudi Arabia when you want to think about Sharia law. You just have to think about MAGA voters. That is Sharia law, okay? The morality police, the people that run out there and say, like, what are you wearing? You should put on more when you go to the gym. That's Sharia law. Okay, this version of Sharia law is clean cut and white and wears flannel, has pumpkin spice lattes instead of Qurans and prayer beads next to them. It's the same thing, okay? It's branding. That's all it is. So remember again, how not only stupid they are, like they don't think we see like how performative they're being, but it hurts the most when my allies join their messaging, when Chris Pappas gets on a stage and says, you should support Israel because of LGBTQ, and trust me, because I'm gay. And again, I'm telling you how dangerous this is as a straight man, okay? Because I know how dangerous it is to conflate Zionism with Judaism when they tell you the reason I feel this way is because because the way Israel feels this way is because they're Jewish. That shouldn't be said because people will believe you. That's anti-Semitism. But if you start saying, I feel this way, and I'm coming at it as someone who is part of the LGBTQ community, and then someone like me has to remind you that in the state of Israel, you can't get married to the same sex. It's not legal in Israel. You have to do it outside of Israel by a rabbi, and they will accept it. But you can't do it inside, So it is this kind of cudgel using of issues on the backs of marginalized communities like LGBTQ. Like you're supposed to care more about Israel because you're part of LGBTQ when in reality it's actually you're getting less rights, a lot less like recognition officially in Israel. So these are the things that really upset me too, that there are so many parts to this, and I don't expect everyday people to do more, but I expect my leaders. I expect way more from my leaders, not to use these issues as a cudgel and not to minimize the issue for their communities, because that's what it does. Essentially, it minimizes those issues.
I just wanted to flag as well. Thank you for all that, Arya. I also just wanted to flag this came out last week. I'm screen sharing in the Twitch if you want to join us. Also, if you're watching us on TikTok, just FYI, in a few minutes, we're going to switch over to watching something more intensely. So if you want to join us on Twitch, just search either one of our names on that app. And you can watch along with us there. But I just pulled up on this screen this DMFI PAC made a fresh round of endorsements, and this is another similar adjacent to APAC group, right? So now we're all aware of APAC. We're all aware of what that means, or most of us are. And there are these other groups that are also doing similar work. And so it's important that we don't sort of narrowly focus on APAC and understand that there's this whole ecosystem here. And so the fact that Chris Pappas, this is we're so far past the point of plausible deniability with this stuff. We've seen people, even Jean Shaheen has changed her tune, right? Like even some of our most establishment politicians have seen the writing on the wall and started to back off some of their support of Israel and support of this genocide. Chris Pappas is not one of them. Chris Pappas continues to be loyally devoted to this cause, which is crazy as a representative of the state of New Hampshire. Like, why are you so enmeshed in what's happening in this foreign government that's committing a genocide? I don't understand. But yeah, the fact that they are getting involved. We are seeing Israel continue to get involved in this race here and home in New Hampshire. We have, you can see Karishma's comment here where I'm screen sharing. Karishma commented, Granite Staters reject genocide enablers working on behalf of a foreign government. I am running to represent the people of New Hampshire in the US Senate, and I'm honored to be endorsed by Track APAC. So just be aware that like we are seeing a lot of attention on this race already. Chris Pappas continues to make it very clear where he stands on this point, where he stands in this issue. And to your point, Arya, it's like this is very frustrating to see as somebody in your position, and in this moment where we are seeing this increase in Islamophobia. And yeah, this is part of what this is all. They're all kind of connected, right? Like all this stuff is interconnected and it impacts us on a local level.
And I want people to start thinking about why this matters, like on the level of like impacting your life even more so, right? I can sit here and say, like, I understand tactical voting, I understand harm, minimizing harm reduction or whatever. I get these strategies. I've been implementing these strategies most of my life, most of my electoral life. But this is not how politics work anymore. Like, you have to realize that in 2024, like the Arab community did not follow that strategy. A lot of communities didn't. Again, I like to remind people that like Kamala Harris lost African American men. She lost Latinos to a man who said he was going to round up Latinos, right? Like, these are not leftist cohorts, right? This is like the base of the Democratic Party. And I knew I was going to disconnect somewhere here. It's the tinfoil hat. Man, I'm always like trying to connect all these.
It started
points.
hurting my head. I don't know if something was happening energetically. I felt like my brain was cooking.
Maybe no. I felt like I was just getting smarter as this went on with this thing on. It's so insane. No, I was gonna go somewhere with this, and I lost it early in that little conversation. It's fine, but okay. So the way I want people to look at this, right, ultimately, is what I wanted to say at the end is that there are going to be people that sit here and tell you right now, I am never going to vote for someone who takes money from APAC. There are going to be people out there, right? But like for this election cycle, I might be one of them. It's a very good chance I'm going to be one of those people. I hate to like make promises this early. Like anything can, I don't know, like a meteor could hit the earth, right? Hopefully. Anyway,
at this pace, like, yeah, dead ass. Like, I'll be surprised.
But I am going to have lines in the sand, and no, I'm not going to move on those. And no, that's not my problem anymore. I moved on them too much. I moved on them a lot, and you didn't do anything with me moving on them. I moved on a lot of my fucking morals to vote for you, and I lost every single time. So now I'm just, instead of not being able to sleep at night and lose, I'd rather be able to sleep at night and lose, okay? If that's going to be the case. So now let's start focusing on what's going to excite people to get out to the polls. And I behoove you guys, do not fall in love with some of these statistics, these numbers that you're seeing that are anti-Trump sentiments. They're anti-Trump sentiments out there right now. And they are momentous, right? But if Chris Pappas ends up being the Democratic nominee for Senate, I am not voting for him. I can tell you that. I can tell you that much right now. If Chris Pappas, I'm not saying I'll vote for the Republican. That's not what I'm saying either. But if he is the Democratic nominee, I am not voting for him. Now, you can say whatever the hell you want about me. I know. I would hear about it from people when I said this. Once I clip this up and I put it on TikTok, I'm gonna hear about it, and that's okay. You know what I'm gonna say to them? It's not my fucking problem anymore. It's your problem. You can't yell at me anymore. How about convince me? Oh, you're gonna keep your. Oh, I should go to Gaza if I care about Gaza. Okay, good luck in the election. Fuck off. That's what I'm going to say this time. I'm not going to be shamed into it anymore by multiple groups, again, who would deport my ass so quickly to Madagascar if they had the fucking chance, okay? I have nothing to do with Madagascar. They don't care where I go, right? This is what I'm saying. We saw inklings of this in the Zoran Trump meeting, the outcry from that centrist capitalist bloc that is more allied to the Republicans than they are to the progressives. These are the dangerous people that I want to be aware of. And again, Chris Pappas, if he ends up somehow miraculously winning, they're going to have to know that. The DNC is going to have to know this ahead of time. Be careful who you put there. Be careful who you guys backed and really want to win this thing. Because if Chris Pappas wins, I ain't voting for him. You know? So good, you know, take what you want from that. Call me what you want. It doesn't matter. You know, like we live in a fascist dictatorship right now.
We've already seen Chris Pappas vote time and time again against our interests. So I don't understand why people think he would be better than anybody else. But all that being said, you know how I feel. I hate this fucking conversation. I'm like, let's just like, I want to let's cross that bridge. I want to focus on what we have in front of us. And right now I want to like get as much. I want people to know this. I want people to know the amount of involvement Chris Pappas has with these outside groups. I want people to know how he's motivated by these folks, and it's important we get that information outside of just this circle and into broader awareness, which I do think is happening. And I think we're starting to see that. You look at Chris Pappas's social media comment sections, people are not excited about Chris Pappas anymore. So I do feel optimistic that there is opportunity here for some of these progressive candidates to make get some real traction. So I think, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, anything I like seeing. Elena just popped in and is like Arya with no context with the tinfoil hat. It
That's
just makes
right.
me laugh every few minutes to remember that you're wearing the hat.
Yeah.
It's killing me.
It's required for these conversations
to say on this, but like I think we're just heading into a moment where like people are more aware of what's going on. People are more aware of like what these politicians are doing. People are paying closer attention, understanding that these people don't represent us in the same way. And I guess this means Chris Pappas probably isn't going to come on the show and talk to us, huh? He's making the podcast circuit, but I don't think we're on his short list of he's making the rounds on the local podcasts. And I think it's really funny because I get a lot of outreaches for like my podcast, and we get a lot of people for this show who want to talk to us, but I don't think Chris Pappas is going to be one of them. I just have a feeling.
You know, you get enough people saying what I'm saying, like with the whole, you know, Chris Pappas and the general won't vote for that. Maybe, you never know. Maybe he has to come and convince us and sing our praises.
I would pay money to watch you have a conversation with Chris Pappas. Like I would like just like UFC style. Like I would pay money. Pay-per-view that shit, because yeah, I'm fucking Chris Pappas is what activated my whole like TikTok. I was just like, who is this dumb little shit who is pretending that he cares about us when he actually does not give a single fuck.
Oh my god, I could not imagine.
Do you want to shift gears into Free State stuff? Anything else on this?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's it. My overwhelming message through all this stuff is just read between the lines, right? There's always a message behind the message behind the message, and that's all. So yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the primary. Not the primary stuff. The primaries are always on my mind, obviously, and the primaries should be on all of your minds, right? The primaries. Those are the elections that matter. All right, so let's find out what episode we're on here with the Free Staters. Do you want to just remind people who the Free Staters are, Marissa, while I look this up here?
Yeah, so we are watching a documentary about the Free State Project. This documentary is a couple years old. It's a couple years old, so since this was made, the Free State Project has made a ton of progress in terms of getting elected at a local level all over the state, as well as getting elected to state house positions. So when people, when you're talking to your less engaged friends and family in New Hampshire, and they're like, "Yeah, why do these people keep making crazy laws? What's going on with our state house? We're the Alabama of the North." It's the Free State Project. That's what's happening. Is these people are consciously moving large amounts of people from out of state who align with their like libertarian-ish ideals to make the government as small as possible, which means defunding all of our programs that we rely on to take care of our communities. So the fact that these people are able, they've made a lot of progress, and so it's important as we head into this next legislative session that starts in January for folks to know when you start hearing these crazy bills coming out, when you start hearing about all these crazy news coming out of Concord, it is very likely tied into the Free State Project, and it's very likely tied into this group here. And so NBC Boston did this great sort of pseudo documentary a couple of years ago, and it does a good job of kind of explaining like a little bit of their ethos and kind of their motivation. A lot of the Free State Project is people are very supportive of this documentary, and they say it like it captures them pretty well. And so it's, I think, important for us to know that like this is what we're up against. It is a different flavor of MAGA, and it has certainly evolved as well since this documentary was filmed. And I would say there's a lot more overlaps with MAGA now. But it's really important that we're all paying attention to this because, yeah, Paige says they're the leaders of the Republican Party in New Hampshire. Like they have successfully infiltrated the Republican Party. And what's I find very interesting about that is uh, similar stuff could be done on the left. So that's kind of what's interesting to me as well. But yeah, their roots and funding are the same as MAGA. Anything else in the comments before we jump in? Yeah, Arya, you want to pull it up? Or are you working on it? You're on mute, buddy. They have not gotten back to me since my second email, by the way, Marissa. Is that the group that's Bridget? Is that the sorry, I'm just catching up on the comments. That was the most exhausted sigh I've ever heard. I don't know what that was in response to, but yes. Yeah, so there's a lot of organizing happening right now in New Hampshire around raising awareness about this group because the reality is most people just don't know. They think that we just have a lot of Republicans here, but it's a much more orchestrated situation. It's much more coordinated. It's an effort that's been done with like surgical precision of like what seats are we going to flip, and you've got these people who are moving from out of state, and a lot of them are young, a lot of them are men, a lot of them are single, and they have nothing better to do other than like commit their lives to this ideology. And so it doesn't matter if state reps don't get paid. They are going to live on their friend's couch and they're going to be a state rep, and they're going to do it because they believe in what they're doing and they believe in taking shit away from us. So yeah, Pat Lynch always says scratch a free stater and find a MAGA. Their intent, Paige says, their intent is to shut down the state. Their goal is not to help people. Shutting down the state is their stated goal, not just an assumption as a Dem. It's true. That's they're trying to get these budgets down to zero, right? They want to make these programs obsolete because they view them as that's just contrary to how they believe they're in their idealistic black and white world, how a government should work. And they are lonely. That's true. That is what we learned, I think, most. That's one of the biggest takeaways of the last batch videos we watched is these people just need friends.
Few months, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of reports about these crazy radical.
So again, if you're watching with us on TikTok, we are streaming this on Twitch. You shouldn't even need to set up an account if you want to watch. You can just go to Twitch, look up either one of our handles. It's the same on there. and we will be screen sharing and watching over there.
They just want to call me the radical.
Some call us invasive species, cockroaches that should be killed.
You've got groups like the Free State Project, which are trying
Can you
to
slow it
enact
down
these
a little
radical
bit?
changes. These extremists.
These are
Too fast. My brain doesn't go that fast. My brain goes like 1.5.
extremist candidates.
They have a very extreme agenda.
Well, I have news for you. It's not half as dramatic as everyone wants to make you think.
Thank you, and I am so excited to be here with you all tonight. This is a great room, and we're all here because we care about our community, so give yourself a round of applause for being here and being present in this moment. Unfortunately, Maine and New Hampshire have both been experiencing a growth in hate-based activity and extremism. We know a lot of people are concerned about what hate groups are showing up in our community, who they are, what they're doing. So we thought it would be helpful to go through just some of the groups that we know are active and what we know about them. Let's first talk about NSC 131, or the National Socialist Club. It is a neo-Nazi group. Patriot Front is also active around the region. It's a white supremacist group. Proud Boys. They are a right-wing extremist group with a violent agenda. The Free State Project. So this is an interesting group that we haven't always considered as part of the hate groups. It is a group that is trying to move 20,000 libertarians to New Hampshire to take over state government and dismantle it. The Free Staters are definitely an extremist group. They've got really fringe theories on how our country should operate, and they are organizing for things like secession.
Okay. I am a member of the Free State Project, and Sandra is very disingenuous with you today, but if anybody would like to meet an actual member of this not hate group, and come meet me in person.
I was offended that she would even throw the Free State Project up on there, period.
Feel free to come find me at any point, and I'll give you my contact info if you want. You can come visit me at work. You can come to my community center. I don't care, but I'd love to meet more people.
All right, thank you.
We just want you to move to New Hampshire and help us make New Hampshire smaller government. That's all we want. So the presentation is on hate crimes, as though the Free State Project has ever committed a hate crime. Like, it's not a part of our movement. It's not acceptable to us. It's truly absurd.
It is appropriate to talk about some of those extremist policies and behaviors in the context of what we're doing tonight. Their policies are actually harming community members. This is a recent story. New Hampshire churches condemn wokeness list, saying it could lead to violence. The Free State Project put out a list of churches that they considered woke communities.
In late August, the Free State Project released a list of churches and congregations and explicitly pulled out congregations who are actively anti-racist. So, for example, denoted if they might display a Black Lives Matter sign, notations about LGBTQ plus equality practices, and also COVID-19 mitigation.
My understanding is when they mean woke, they mean praising the government during church service, enforcing masks, enforcing vaccines. And I think that's pretty important for people to choose what church they're going to. That seems like a positive form of discrimination, where you want to go be with the people that share the same values as you.
These lists encourage folks to potentially harass or target those communities. They also produced a list of synagogues that included, among other things, notations about how easy it would be to conceal carry a weapon. And in my experience, that is not something you're going to put on a list just to invite folks to come to your community.
It was concerning to faith leaders that these were churches that were going to be targeted and potentially harmed because they were standing up for all community members.
Some Free Staters say that you have the same agenda that they do, to move to the state. I'm sure you've heard those before.
Yeah.
Move to the state and to advance your political agenda. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I always find it interesting when this comes up. You know, anybody can move to any state because, you know, a family, they like the community, you know, work. We bounced around and we moved back up to New Hampshire when we got married.
So you didn't move here for the Granite State Progress?
No. There's a difference, though, between how some people end up in New Hampshire and how the Free State Project ends up there, which is a political group voted on a state to move 20,000 libertarians to because people in other states and other parts of the country did not support that policy agenda, which is far different than how almost anybody else ends up in any state.
We come in peace. You know, I feel like that's really important. We're getting colored and characterized in a certain way that I find deeply troubling.
A lot of these people moved here because they came from states, or they came from countries that weren't as free, and they probably went through, in some cases, some pretty traumatic issues. And they came here because they felt as if government was somehow had a hand in those traumatic issues.
My great-grandmother was put in a British concentration camp during the Boer War, where 25% of women and children were killed.
I was born and grew up in communist China, and I was the eyewitness of all the horrors. 20 million people died.
When I joined the army, I believed that I was going to defend freedom and liberty. What I found out was that the system was corrupt. The war is a huge fraud.
What inspires me to work my butt off 24/7 for liberty is that I've felt tyranny punch me in the face.
Skepticism with big government comes from a long lineage of being harmed by the government.
I saw what happened to those people with my own eyes. It was very, very painful memories.
That's what gave them the proclivity to be more libertarian leaning, is the skepticism towards the government. They felt like didn't properly protect them, didn't properly address their needs, and that actually did the exact opposite, created the problems that they had to deal with and some of that trauma. And they came here because they want to be more free.
I was so oppressed. I never heard about individual liberty rights before. So I thought if I have to leave China someday, this is a cool country to come to.
I left my military career with high honors, but none of these things and no money was worth me selling my moral beliefs and my moral values.
I felt Cuomo.
de Blasio, Biden, Trump, Clinton, Obama. I felt the weight of tyranny. So I'm motivated to fight back against it.
And I think it's really important for people to talk, to have dialogue, to stop with the name calling, and to understand we're here to fix the problems they created.
So what's new to me is just the amount that Free Staters are being mentioned now. I mean, outside of Croydon, with the ski resort thing where it's like, oh, Free Staters.
But they're labeling us.
Right, it's the use of the label, which could suggest that people are actually somewhat scared.
That's a good point.
I got my feathers up last November when
This is a good point to remind people. I think Paige is saying this in the comments, that we are at the point now where most often when Free Staters are running for government, they're not disclosing themselves as Free Staters. They're not identifying themselves as Free Staters, which is part of how it's because the tone has shifted and people have the awareness of what they're doing has been raised. And so it's much harder now in the world we're living in here in 2025 to identify when somebody is a Free Stater, because they're not identifying it on their name tags or anything like that. And we were looking at this last time we talked about this, and I was trying to see, there's a few websites and stuff, groups that were doing tracking around who of these folks that are running for government are actually in the Free State Project, and a lot of them seem like they've been kind of abandoned. And so if anybody knows of any resources that are still active to identify kind of who among us is actually Free Stater, because despite what you see, all the pride you see in this video, they're no longer proud and realizing that it's hindering some of their campaigns.
a situation threatened the very existence of Gunstock as we know it.
Gunstock, as most of you know, is a state-owned ski resort. Should the government be in the business of running a ski resort?
I've been a user of Gunstock since 1965. The profits were through the roof. Gunstock has been a successful operation.
Extremist candidates created all of this chaos by packing in people that were loyalists to them.
They've been tagged as libertarians, some of them Free Staters, whose agenda was to take control of Gunstock away from the county and privatize it. They started putting the Gunstock management team under attack. We want budget approval. We need to investigate how you spend your money. And their goal was to minimize county services all the way around. If they do this, Gunstock as we know it will be gone forever.
I don't think it's fair to blame the Free Staters. There are 12 people on the commission. Only 2 of them are known Free Staters.
Behind them is reduced government, reduced budgets, reduced services. So to that degree, it ties in very closely. And eventually, some members of the delegation came together, were able to turn the tide by removing the commission members. The community rose up. Gunstock is back on the straight and narrow, and it was a wake-up call for a lot of people.
The way it's been reported in the media thus far is suddenly, oh, these evil Free Staters are trying to privatize a state-run ski resort. I don't think that would be the worst thing, but it is really up to the citizens and the Granite Staters of Belknap County to make these decisions.
Up here, I think people are just waking up to it, and Gunstock was the catalyst. In some places in New Hampshire, like in Keene, it's been a part of daily life.
I'm Ian Freeman. I was kind of a born libertarian. I never liked being told what to do.
Have a seat.
Are you making on?
Have a seat. I'll be doing that under duress.
Yes, sir. I'm a civil disobedience activist. Civil disobedience is where you announce in advance that you're going to break some stupid law, like possession of cannabis.
All right. Anybody got a light?
I do.
What I was going to do is just start showing up here and smoking every day at 4:20 in the afternoon, see how long it took them to notice me.
It's not violent. It's just to make a statement against some existing system or law or whatever that you want to see go away.
A cop walked by, and I blew some smoke over there. They kind of, yep, that's weed. And at that point, he decided it was time to arrest me.
Everybody circle around. Leave him alone!
Keene, New Hampshire had the Robin Hood libertarians who were following the meter people around Keene.
As you can see, we have encountered a parking enforcer. I want to make sure we got some meters that are filled up here.
And putting in quarters so people wouldn't get tyranny from the local government. I'm not making that up.
Go back to your truck and drive away.
I'm doing my job.
Okay. I think I've been arrested like 10 or 12 times. And most of it is completely peaceful civil disobedience, mostly in the Keene area.
What a fucking white man thing. I'm so sorry,
And
but like,
sometimes you win,
what a
sometimes
fucking
you get
white
convicted.
man privilege, like to be like, I'm a civil disobedience activist. Like, dude, like that is something you can only do as a white man in America, and be like, that's what you're bragging about. Is like, I mean, that's crazy. It's because when people do like that is a real form of activism, and it is dangerous for a lot of people. But when you are a privileged white guy, you can just do that kind of thing. I just thought that was kind of funny.
No, and he says it. He's so proud of himself too, when he says it. You can just see it. Like he's like, yeah, I've been arrested like a dozen times. You know, civil disobedience. That's what they call it. And they show him like in a collared shirt in a courtroom, and the guy's like, "Hey, sir, can you get up?" It's like, how many times, sir? Can you just get up? Just turn around. Just put your hands behind your back. Fuck, you know. And then the guy's like sliding a joint.
Yeah, the other guy was like, I'm just gonna smoke in this park every day, and I'm really worth doing the work. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we have these people really fighting the good fight.
It's just so insane, and just the complete lack of awareness. And he's like, just take a look. Just take a look at our friend here, who envisions himself as the freedom fighter. This is the freedom fighter, boys and girls. This is what an American libertarian freedom fighter looks like. And y'all wish you had just an ounce of the justice and patriotism this man has. I'd like to see any of you
Lydia's
get civil disobedience arrests. Go ahead. Sorry.
Lydia's in the comments saying, yeah, I would never. I'm trans. I've been in jail as an out trans individual. So traumatizing, never again. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point, is like, you are in such a privileged position when you know. And it's interesting because I've been having this conversation a lot with like other white women, right? And we're kind of we're in a situation now where it's like, hey, let's be conscious of our privilege and talk about how we should potentially use that for because other people are not in that situation, right? But to not have
oh my god, I was muted. Really sorry about that. Real. Thank you for telling me. People were so happy not hearing me on TikTok. No one else wanted to let me know. Thank you, Sarah. You're the best. I blame everyone else.
We're watching the Free State documentary.
When we do civil disobedience, people are upset about that. But then when we follow the process that is in place.
Yeah. Just a reminder, if you're not, you literally look up our same usernames on Twitch and watch us there. You can put us on the TV. You don't need an account, anything like that. So just you can see what we're watching, pretty much.
Or get elected, or try and make changes and reforms, we get criticized for that as well. I think there's this push to try and make Free Staters scapegoats for anything that's going wrong or for anything that makes the establishment look bad.
The reality is that most Americans don't like the policies that the Free State Project is pushing.
Democrats and progressives will say that they're very concerned about this like influx of Free Staters that are trying to destroy the government from the inside out.
It's why they had to move to have enough people with their views to force the changes that they want onto the rest of us.
Maybe I might disagree with them when they're doing things like introduce secession so blatantly and so boldly, or a Democrat might disagree with them, but you can still work with them on different things.
Do you have anything nice to say about these?
I will say this about Free Staters: they're organized and they're committed, and you respect that even when you disagree, but their end goal is really dangerous.
There are Free Staters, I think, in like every community in New Hampshire.
Grafton was one of the early places where the Free Town Project was one of the early experiments.
As a sort of precursor to the Free State Project.
I wanted to live in an area where I would be free.
Yes. Yes. They're going to talk about it in the next episode.
Bridget says, get Bree in here. I think Bree popped into TikTok earlier, but I think she had to go. But yeah, we're going to get into the Bears. We can keep rolling through unless you have anything you want to add.
No. I'm very excited for this next episode because this is all I love talking about when it comes to the Free Town Project. By the way, just a reminder, they used to be called the Free Town Project, and they had to rebrand because of this next episode. They're going to explain why they rebranded from the Free Town Project to the Free State Project.
Freedom isn't what most people think it is.
Freedom is messy, and some people don't like messy.
The Free State Project is a threat to the status quo.
It is an enemy to the world.
It's not a violent threat, but it's a threat to the ideas.
You have to compete with people that want more authoritarian control over their neighbors and people that want to have their neighbors left alone.
The American people are in an abusive relationship with their government.
How can we stop this overreach of government?
Politicians, people know that they're liars.
USA! We're fortunate New Hampshire had that live free or die attitude. You're going to have this clash.
The America we live in now,
government is violence.
Is not the America that our Constitution is supposed to have created.
An alternative to government is peace.
How that clash ends, well, we'll see.
In rural New Hampshire, people are used to bears. It wasn't just that, like, they saw bears. They had some really hair-raising stories about these really extreme encounters with bears. And so I thought, what's going on here? What is driving this unusual bear activity? And the only other thing that really distinguished it from its neighbors was that it was the basis of the Freetown Project. My name is Matt Hungles-Hetland. I'm an author.
They got the actual author in here.
Walks into a Bear, that is about the Freetown Project as a sort of precursor to the Free State Project. In around the year 2003, libertarians all across the country were kind of talking about how they could advance their agendas if they concentrated their political power, that they could turn a community or a region or a state into an example of libertarianism, be this kind of shining jewel, an example of how their philosophy worked in practice.
Once New Hampshire was selected as a free state, the project's destination state, a few people got together and decided, well, if you have a free state project, let's have a free town project.
4 or 5 of them drove around the state of New Hampshire. What community can we latch onto and make ours? But when they went to Grafton, they were received in the public firehouse by John Babiars, who was a firefighter at the time.
I'm John Babiars, made the move in '93. I wanted to live in an area where I would be free. We have Starlinks. Built and designed my solar array that powers my house. We have our own water and septic here, so it's basically, this is my remote island from a chaotic world. Originally from Southington, Connecticut, raised by parents who escaped from Europe after the war. My mother and father met in the United States, and I was born in Southington. I went to the Air Force, came out of the Air Force, did a lot of computer consulting. Also in 1983, I designed a digital crypto auxiliary unit. Eventually, we were all moved up here. I was a fire chief in town of Grafton here. It was a libertarian-friendly environment, that people were actually elected to office, that to do business up here was a lot easier. So I also ran for office here. I got elected as cemetery trustee. You know, I figure if you guys start in politics, why start at the top or start at the middle, start 6 feet under and work your way up. And so I worked my way up, ran for governor in 2000.
He was one of the most successful statewide libertarian candidates in the country at that time. John had run for governor of New Hampshire a few times at that point. So you can imagine from John's perspective, if 200 libertarians suddenly move to town and are enthusiastic about libertarianism, as these folks all were, they're going to be knocking on doors for me. And so he and Rosalie invited the libertarians to come to Grafton.
But I said, well, we're pretty much free here in Grafton. I don't see the problem. Unfortunately, anytime you have any type of movement, you have a few people that are a little bit extreme. And there was one individual that upset the apple cart and caused a commotion.
He was asserting things in just kind of like the most extreme terms imaginable. Grafton was going to be a place where you could traffic organs and drugs. Consensual cannibalism should be legal. All these like very, very flamethrower type arguments. And so when somebody from Grafton...
I'm sorry, did they say cannibalism?
They sure did. Yeah, they sure did.
I wasn't even aware that that was like that. Like, and it's funny how they were like, the guy described it at first, because I knew what he was saying. Like, he was like, there's always a couple bad apples, and I'm thinking, yeah, he's talking about like the pedophiles and like the lowest of a couple bad apples. The guy who has like the meth lab in his truck, and yeah, the pedophiles in town, but not a big deal. Normal in every state, right?
It's like the low is just getting so low. Like, I just like there's no bottom anymore. And I'm just like, yeah, that tracks. Honestly, that tracks.
That's insane.
If you're just joining on Twitch, we're watching this Free State documentary on Twitch.
On Twitch, yeah. You can just look us up. You can look us up by our same usernames. If Twitch is such a cool thing, you can like throw it on your TV. You don't need an account. I think you need an account to chat in the chat, but to watch us randomly, you don't need an account there. You can see what we're watching too.
And notice this. They wigged out and they held a town meeting.
Hi, Shelby.
That the libertarians come and explain themselves.
I'll hold your drink anytime, Shelby.
They
anytime you want.
Meeting house. They had somebody set up a coffin. R.I.P. Freetown. They did not like this idea, but the libertarians came anyway. Certainly, Grafton already had bears, and it already had some bear problems. But the libertarians affected the local culture of the bears.
Grafton doesn't have any zoning, and so as you drove through here, you see nice houses, dilapidated houses.
A lot of them chose to live in these kind of ad hoc living situations in the woods. As they were living, each in their own way, in their kind of individualistic, free living way, they were each handling their own garbage and refuse in their own way. Some of them were feeding the bears on purpose, just for the joy of watching them eat, which I get. I have a bird feeder. I love it when animals come to my bird feeder. A lot of libertarians were asserting their right to do this.
There's people that feed bears, and it's like, you shouldn't do that, because it's not good for humans.
My name is Andrew Timmons, and I've...
No, you talk first.
No, I don't have anything to say. What do I have to say? What do you say to that? Like, oh, a bunch of people just really got like excited about watching the bears come eat food in their backyard, like birds. It's just like birds. It's like when you try to like make ridiculous. I'm done. I can't.
No, sorry. I was just literally thinking like verbatim what you were just thinking. at that point in time when it was like he was like hedging, like this man is running for politics or something. He's like, oh, I completely get it because I like feeding birds, you know. So I get when you want to let bears come into your backyard. Same thing, you know. It's like tomato. I just surreal. Like I don't know if I can't tell the difference between reality and parody sometimes. Like if I'm watching like a parody show or something.
Now. We live in the Truman Show.
Worked with New Hampshire Fish and Game for about 28 years. We're in the woods of New Hampshire, which is home to an estimated population of 6,800 black bears. The last 21 years I have served as the department's bear biologist. We have strong bear populations statewide, and we have abundant bear habitat statewide. It's a common way people like to mount bears because I think it makes them look snarly and mean, but bears don't growl and show their teeth like an angry dog does. You know, bear attacks in New Hampshire are extremely rare. Grafton doesn't rise to a town where we would consider a high level of complaints.
In Grafton, the culture was very anti-government. People just simply weren't contacting wildlife authorities about these problematic bears.
You know, I had my chickens free range out, and they stayed pretty close to the coop. See, this chicken just starts running straight towards me. I picked up the chicken and I looked, and 40 feet in front of me was a bear sitting there. And the bear was trying to make a decision whether it was going to go after me to get the chicken or me. The bear came over here. I was standing right here. The bear is where that pine tree is now. Now I had my office there, and I know just beyond the door is AR-15. And it was like, if I saw the bear running, we're going to have it on. I don't think the bear understood that. If he even made a move, there would have been lead flying like he wouldn't believe.
In the state of New Hampshire, for the last 150 years, there had never been a wild bear attack on a human. Grafton became, in 2012, the site of the first wild bear on human attack. And then in the time since I've written the book, there was a third bear attack. So after 150 years of no bear attacks, suddenly you have this cluster of 3 incidents, all in a bear's length of Grafton.
Did he say all in a bear's length of Grafton?
Yes. I love him. Let's get him on. Is he a New Hampshire resident? Let's get him on NH Talk. I like this guy.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's like I think a lot of us have heard bits and pieces of this story, but seeing the people who are involved like recounting it is just like ridiculous. And it just is like it's just such a perfect metaphor for like what happens when I understand why some people are drawn to these types of ideologies where everything is really black and white and it's easy to understand and to be able to just say, yeah, fuck yeah, we want small government. That sounds great. I used to feel that way too. It's such a nice, like, happy, simple way of thinking. But then once you actually see it in practice, it never works like that, right? Like there's a reason that it doesn't work. And we saw it laid bare here. You know what I mean?
Multiple
Laid
ways. Yeah,
bare.
exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got you. Nice job there. Put your tinfoil hat back on
No,
before you make jokes like
Let
that.
it go. It's fine. You don't have to laugh at all of them. They're not all winners. It's fine.
There's nothing to suggest that the population of bears in Grafton during that time period spiked or that people were having some sudden increase of conflicts with bears.
Do you think that Grafton has a bear problem?
Not so much more than other places.
Bottom line, no correlation that you've seen between the Freetown Project
None.
and bears.
None.
It's really funny how the Freetown Project wrapped up. In, I think it was 2016, the Free State Project was officially triggered.
We did it. Today, I'm here to announce that the Free State Project has officially triggered the move and that participants need to come home.
Instead of Grafton being the only landing pad for them, they could go anywhere in the state of New Hampshire to advance that cause.
You have 5 years from today, February 3rd, 2016.
And why would they go to Grafton? It had a bear problem, right?
To come help build the world's first intentional liberty community.
The Freetown Project just kind of fizzled out around that same time, 2016 or so.
It's so interesting that the trigger of the Free State Project is...
Is it funny? Is it funny? It's not funny. It's rebranding. And I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing that I find when it comes to Free State Project, in all seriousness, anytime it comes to some type of logical debate about libertarianism, and I'm not talking about aspects of libertarianism, because you can take like any aspects of government and say, you know what, this aspect of this form of government is great, right? Like there are some things you can say that about everything, right? But this group had an opportunity to show you exactly what it could do when it was able to successfully do what it wanted to do, right? Which is, it had a plan. Take over a place on a smaller scale, in this case, than the whole state of New Hampshire. It's a town in New Hampshire. What a beautiful idea. It makes me think, there's a whole other conversation about, what if you had a bunch of leftists, what if you had a bunch of socialists going to Grafton and take over that fucking town?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Arya. I've gone down this road mentally a few times in the last few weeks. I'm just saying. I have entertained the idea of like, what would that look like? Create a safer place for people yeah, I don't know. Just an interesting thought experiment.
No, I mean, if you think
there wouldn't be bears. There would be different kinds of bears.
Absolutely. I think you would see, first of all, it couldn't get worse. Okay. I don't think it could get worse than what we saw there. Okay. But yes, I do believe sometimes, not even just as like, this is what Free State projectors did, and they did it successfully, and they were terrible at the end result. The idea was terrible. That's why they failed. But what if our way to prove to the next town how good of an idea this is, you take over a town like Grafton, all of a sudden the next town is watching how the life of Grafton is improving. And then that town is like, well, shit. And all of a sudden another town does it. All of a sudden another town does it. And all of a sudden you are the new Free State project, right? Like all of a sudden you are implementing the things, because you can always go back to the Freetown project. They do not have a response to the bears that showed up in Grafton. They still do not. Because that is the natural conclusion of gutting government. It's every man for themselves and bears, right? So if you got like, a nice piece of property and some people working for you, maybe you got a cult or something, you're in a better position than someone who's on their own. Okay, but the whole point of government is to protect people. If your perspective on government is that it's there to divide you, to destroy you, yes, obviously you will never want to have a working government. But some of us believe that it is necessary for something like the government to exist, because I have no power against Elon Musk. Look at what happens when your government capitulates to human beings, right? Just look at how your world is right now. And I would make government massive if it meant helping me, right? And helping everyone. I'm okay with that. And I think the idea is, if you could show that to people and not just run on shitty government while you simultaneously gut government, I think that's not going to produce any type of success for people that believe or want to believe in government. But from someone who comes from a philosophical view, truly, I believe if there's no government, we would murder and pillage each other out on the streets. We would absolutely destroy each other. That's what I believe.
Do you really?
I do.
This is an interesting conversation for another day, because we're coming up to the end.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to dig on that. And I think
this gets.
Yeah, I don't believe because philosophically, in the end, truly, and I'm willing to debate anyone on this, I don't believe human beings are born good. I think they learn it.
Oh man, this is a good this is another day we'll do this.
Yeah, I'm gonna just tease this.
And
I'm gonna tease this.
I think
for y'all.
this like gets to, yeah. I mean, it gets the core, yeah, of different opinions, but interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, surprise. I got some layers over here. Like I got an onion, like a Texas onion over here. But no, the last thing I want to say about this guy here and what this whole thing about because they're just going to keep talking about. I don't know if we have time to actually. Do we have time to finish the? Let me see. We probably don't have time.
I don't have a hard out today. If we want to go a few minutes over,
let's just. Should we just finish this? Finish the
How
video?
How much time do we have left? Yeah.
There is less than 5 minutes, like maybe 3 minutes. At the speed we're going?
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it?
I think the Freetown project didn't succeed as envisioned, but in a way it developed a community where people got together within the Free State Project movement. And you see pockets of that throughout the state.
I think that ultimately the Freetown project was really silly. I had a lot of fun delving into that particular flavor of silliness, but I also tried not to lose sight of the fact that we're all a little silly, right?
Do you feel like the Freetown project made Grafton more free?
Didn't change. We still pretty much live and let live in this town. Grafton is still Grafton. I'm not active in any organizations, but I, like an elder, I'll advise them what they should do, shouldn't do. The old saying is true, freedom is not free. You can't just rely on the efforts of people in the past. You got to take up your youthful energy and make it happen.
My name is Stephen Ness. I'm 32 years old. We're at the Independence Inn in Stratford, New Hampshire. It's an inn, it's a restaurant, it's like our community gathering space as well. We do some events here. You can see these murals here. This is historic Stratford, New Hampshire here. Many of these buildings still exist. I can show you around more. We got our nice gathering area over here, a little lounge. Every Thursday night we do live music, so we'll have a performer over there tonight. We're doing farm to table here. We're trying to use a lot of local farmers and New Hampshire sources for everything. I thought I'd make you guys the Miss Liberty. We shake it up so it's nice and frothy. Just a beautiful cocktail. People like it a lot. I still hear about other states or where I'm from, originally in Wisconsin, and I tell people I know out there that they need to just move out here and just give up on it out there. I run the Shell too, but the Shell is much more of a blank slate for big events. I do a lot of welcoming of people moving to New Hampshire for the Free State Project. On the wall here, you might not be able to see it with the camera, but it says welcome home. It's kind of chalked in here, but it's basically when people move here for the Free State Project, we're welcoming them to their home.
What folks told me and what I tell the new folks here as soon as we meet them and new movers, or especially at PortFest, is welcome home, you know?
It's a very emotional thing for a lot of them because there's just nothing else like that anywhere else, because a lot of these people left behind their families who might not have understood.
Just gonna say, this is exactly what I envision a welcome party of Free Staters to look like in that little room that you saw with the chalked in welcome home that you could barely read in the blue light, and he's drinking like a Pabst Blue Ribbon. That's like exactly what I fucking imagine it being like.
Okay, wait. Can I just tell you, I'm looking at their website because I was like, oh, I'm curious if they're still active since a lot of these groups have gotten more underground. They have their events calendar is updated, and they have a conspiracy theory group tonight at 5:30 in Rollinsford if you want to go and bring your hat. Wouldn't that be fun though? What if we just go? Let's go to some of their shit. I would be so
love to
interested
go.
to talk to these people. What if we just show up?
That would be so amazing. Actually, I'm like all these thoughts are yeah, take your hat. Like all these like crazy delusions of grandeur, like content ideas that could come out of this would be surreal. Oh my god. All right. We should continue
Let's
before
finish the video, but
yeah.
Say that they're actually pro-community.
Yeah,
Because
seriously.
in their vision, folks are just kind of pitching in. Their complaint is that the state always has an implied gun to the head free rule.
With freedom comes responsibility. If you want people to have more freedom without coercion from the government, then you have to have it so people don't want to run to the government as a first solution. Volunteer firemen, volunteer cleanup. There's a lot of the things in this town were done because of volunteers.
In order for that social construct to work, people have to be willing to kick in and contribute.
This libertarian idea that I'll take care of my own, I'll do what I need. They don't want the state government, local government, they certainly don't want federal government involved. And, you know, that just doesn't work at the end of the day. There's a reason we create a society in which we all contribute and we all benefit. And they really don't want to be a part of that community.
I wouldn't necessarily assume that the entire state is going to be beset by bears and fall into disrepair. That being said, I think it's frightening. Should the movement continue to gather momentum and continue to find willing allies within the Republican Party in particular, some of the measures that they advance could really hurt people.
There's so much activism going on. A lot of people are running for office, so people are all volunteering and campaigning, and that's all coming to a head, I guess, next week for primary. So we'll have a big primary results watch party where a whole bunch of candidates will be there.
I want to do everything I can to reduce the power of government. I want to cause as much trouble as I can, disrupt as much as I can.
So, I mean, I feel like, hey, we can really make some big impact here. And the purpose is not evil.
We're going to have to see what the voters decide in the election. If the voters wake up and pay attention to this, I don't think they will be successful. What these people are asking for is way too far.
I think the Free State Project is going to give you a microcosm of what normal people go through. We've had Free Staters die. We have new Free Staters born. We have young families, old people. People that want to make a difference.
The lounge over here, we have a lot more casual discussions.
People that want to see the future generations to have the same kind of freedoms that we have.
You can have anything that you want, as long as you agree that you're not going to hurt other people and you're not going to steal their stuff.
People just gotta chill. That's all it is.
Shut the fuck up. You guys have no chill. What are you talking about telling me to chill? God, that makes me so angry.
No, we just want to check the genitals of little girls before they go into the bathroom, okay? Just normal, chill stuff, okay? Very chill. We are all about individual liberties, unless it's like we're talking about a child using the bathroom at school, because then we have opinions.
the thing.
It's crazy.
That's like the easiest. That's the biggest, like. And again, it brings me back to, like, again, showing that dude, like this guy You know, just to remind you, the guy that was lighting the Quran on fire and saying Sharia law is coming, the guy that wants to bring white Christian nationalism to America. It's the same thing. Every accusation is a confession. Every time, like clockwork. This isn't virtue signaling. This is vice signaling. Y'all vice signal constantly signal the worst parts about you. And that's what you want to be. Like you are what you're fear mongering constantly. And it has happened over and over again with conservatives, like in so many different areas, you know, like, again, I'm not making light of this. It's not, I mean, it's kind of like a parody within itself, but every time there is a Republican convention in a city, Grindr shuts down. This is a fact. I'm not trying to be funny.
It gets overloaded. Like,
yes,
it gets overloaded and crashes.
Crashes, literally crashes. Because these are the most repressed motherfuckers on earth. Seriously, the most repressed, suppressed people on earth. And they've been taught to take that out on the people that are just like, so again, these guys are like, let's go, you know, the Free Staters are like, let's go build our own society. Nah, dude, these are apartheid coded, you know, some of these people are South African, they talked about. They're all white, man. You know, it's like, yes, like what we all want, except, you know, good luck getting Mohammed to join the Free State Project. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, good luck with that. You know, like, they're going to accept that guy, you know, who I'm Middle Eastern, for those that don't know, so I can say that. It's one of those things where it's like, it's so insane on its face, and it's their way of again, justifying how they feel, their general outlook on their, you know, their apartheid coded nature. And ultimately, they can always be destroyed by the Freetown Project. There is no argument for the Freetown Project. That's who you were. That's literally what you're telling us you want to do to the state. So, like, my response, again, my positive thing that I want to everyone, again, positive Arya. Don't get used to this. I hate this.
I was just laughing because you were yelling a minute ago, and I was thinking about that commenter that's like, every time I watch this show, I just feel like you guys are yelling at me.
I know.
He's not yelling at you. He's yelling to
with
with us on our behalf.
So I'm just gonna try to bring a little bit of that hope back here, which is, if these dumbasses were able to do that, these dumbasses, okay, we're able to take over a town in New Hampshire, we can take over much more than a town, okay? The guys that were like comparing bird feeders to feeding bears, those are the guys that took over a town in New Hampshire. So the sky's the limit, guys. You know, like, maybe we should move to, you know, our own Grafton in New Hampshire.
I did do a little Zillow deep dive the other day just for funsies. But I agree. I think one of the big things we took and this wasn't the last video, right? There's still
there's like 2 or 3 more we'll watch later.
Yeah, we'll watch them later. But like, I think for me, one of the big takeaways from all of this has just been like, the way that they do community is so good. They do a really good job at bringing people together and getting people connected in a room together and helping people feel like they're part of something. And I don't think we do that on the left really well at all. I think there's pockets of communities. I think advocacy groups do a good job of this, of aligning people who are all part of different communities. But I don't think we have like connective tissue across the progressive left. And I think that's like a huge opportunity for us, and getting people together in person. It's something that Ari and I have been already kind of like brainstorming around a little bit on the side, and would love to like continue to brainstorm with this group as well, of like, what are ways we can start getting people together in person and doing this kind of community building and bringing some of this stuff offline. So that's my my beautiful segue into plugging my show for tomorrow. I will be, we've got a One Quick Thing podcast tomorrow in Dover at Auspicious Brew at 7 o'clock. Would love to see you guys. It's a free show. I have a RSVP link in my bio. RSVPs help so that the bar can plan having the right amount of employees on, because sometimes we end up getting slammed, and it's a good problem to have. But I would love to see you guys in person if you can come out. We're going to be interviewing a couple of different folks from groups that are feeding the community in really important ways, in creative ways. We obviously are experiencing so much food insecurity here in New Hampshire, and that is only going to we're seeing that ramp up, as a lot of these policies from the federal government are coming into play. So we're trying to highlight some of those stories of how people are coming up with creative ways to feed people. So we've got a great little lineup of guests. So would love to see you in person if you're in the Dover area tomorrow, if you want to come over and make it out. Anything, and then last thing I was just gonna say too is that we'll be live again on Wednesday. So we'll do this. We won't be live on Friday, but we'll do this again on Wednesday. And there's a ton of New Hampshire stuff that came out over the weekend or in the last few days, that I would like to get into, that I just didn't have time to kind of prepare myself for, to speak on intelligently. So let's see if I can do that for tomorrow. But yeah, there's a lot going on. We're gonna try to we'll do Wednesday's show as really arming yourself for Thanksgiving and giving you some material that you can bring when you're talking to normies over the holiday, and conversations that we can have. And then we also, hold on, this comment is blocked, I don't know why, but there is also the economic blackout is starting this week, so we'll talk about that a little bit more on Wednesday, because I personally am feeling like that is one of the most powerful levers at our disposal, is how we spend our money. And I haven't been seeing as much conversation about it this time around, which makes me nervous. I think there's just so much happening in the news right now. But I view economic blackouts and thinking about things, that type of protest, as a lifestyle change. And so while these timed protests are really important, also I think all of us just should be consciously working on how much capitalism can we get out of our personal expenditures. How do we get shopping out of how do we stop buying shit at big box stores, things like that. But yeah, so we'll be back here on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's just a little graphic. If you want to go to the massblackout.com, the blackout is from tomorrow to December 2nd. Obviously, it's the holidays, and I think that's part of it too. That we are so ingrained in this capitalist system. It's hard. I mean, even my family, my cousins and stuff, when it comes to, they all have how can I put it? There's a kind of this ingrained thing that they do around the holiday time when they get ready for shopping, right? They have certain places they're ready for sales, and they're ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday type shopping. And it's really hard because we have been so ingrained into this capitalist system. It's so important to us. People are still, I know people that are worried about I know this is a privileged thing, but there are some people that want to get involved with this who are I need to get gifts for my friends and family, and I can't afford them if I don't get it during Black Friday, right? Because that's when all the deals are. And it's kind of just this pressure constantly to be part of the system, and people get that. There's little things that you can do to always help. Little things again, using cash, thinking ahead enough to use cash when you make your purchases. That is still being part of the blacking out the system, because those credit card fees and those Visa fees, they add up every single day. They lose a lot of money if you stop using your credit card just on the fees for a couple days. So again, I love speaking, not that I love it, I do always want to speak on the kind of the shame part of things, where the capitalist forces want to shame you for not being a part of this, or thinking you're not being a part of this. You are. There's a bunch of little things you can do to help, always. And then the very last thing I want to say, actually two quick things I want to say, is that on Wednesday, yeah, we're going to meet on Wednesday. We're going to talk more. I'm going to make Marissa wear the conspiracy hat this time. So we're going to talk more about about like New Hampshire stuff, I wanted to talk about those things too. The URL is themassblackout.com. Themassblackout.com. And there is like they're working towards a general strike in 2026. I know there are forces working towards a general strike in 2026. Yes, I will drop the info in Discord as well. I think every time that we start talking about these things, we bring awareness to people about these things. Marissa said it really well. In a capitalist system, really one of the biggest tools that we have is our dollars. And they will notice like a day, I have a video up, maybe I'll repost it, about like the amount of money that you crack off the economy in just a day of not spending, right? Like regular spending, it's humongous. They notice that stuff more than any No Kings protest. Seriously, and I mean that. Like one day of everyone not purchasing anything would do more than 10 No Kings protests altogether. It's just a lot harder to organize that, and those are the things that we're working on.
Well, and that's why I keep saying too, that's why I keep harping about like class consciousness. And I swear to God that if we stopped spending money, if we got like a percentage of the country to sincerely stop spending money for a week, it would like all of this would stop. All of this would change tomorrow. Like the whole landscape would completely change. Right now, we all just tolerate it, right? We see everyone around us who has made no changes to their lifestyle is still buying from all the same stores that they were before. And people aren't ready to make that change yet. But the more that we can get people to understand that that dollar has power. I like what you said about cash. That was a change I made this year. I go to the ATM now every couple of weeks and I just take out a few $100. I probably shouldn't say this. Don't mug me, please. But yes, I carry cash now because I try to use cash instead of credit cards because it does make a difference. And then you're more conscious with your spending too. But that's it. Yeah. So we'll see you back here on Wednesday.
Yeah, and
any,
then
any final words of wisdom?
Just a two very last shout outs I wanted to make is that in 2 days, wait, what's the date today? Today's the 24th, right? Just want to make sure I'm getting the days right here.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, no, this Saturday. This Saturday is the Nashua Holiday Stroll, the Winter Stroll. I know some congressional candidates might be there. Paige Boschman might be there. I'm definitely going to be there because I live in Nashua, and that is like a great time in Nashua on Main Street, supporting local businesses, being out. Like they always have like the Christmas lights out. It's always like Main Street. They've done a lot on Main Street, so I try to go out there as much as I can, especially during the holidays. And then the very last thing is I want to get more events out there too. Obviously, people know I am on Paige Boschman's campaign, and we do have an event coming up in Nashua as well. I'm gonna actually show I'm gonna just show the little flyer here, and I'm gonna talk more about anytime we have the chance to talk more about progressive candidates in general, just because. Sorry, where are you? Where are you here?
I'm going to try to come to this. No promises because I will have a toddler with me, but I am going to attempt to December 6th. Oh, so it's not this coming weekend, it's the next weekend.
Yeah. This event is the next weekend. The holiday stroll is what is going on here?
Yeah, Paige Boschman has childcare at her events. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll come out to that one. No problem. I'll bring my kid. I'll earn points. I'll give my husband the Saturday off. And I'm going to come bring my kid to Paige Boschman's event and come see you guys. That's my plan. And then, yes. Oh, somebody's remind me 3 fat dogs who you are in TikTok so I can connect in my brain. But yes, we do have another, there is another People's Potluck on Friday with the New Hampshire Communist Party and our friend Rat on TikTok. So they are doing another food drive. It was really People's Potluck. It was really successful last time. So if you are in the area, if you're in the Manchester area, take a look out for that. Bring some hot food.
Sorry, here it is. Finally.
Oh, Kayla, thank you. If people can help with the Discord by like dropping some links in there too, it's hard for us to manage the stream and also be on top of the Discord links too. If you are not in the NH Talk Discord, I'll do a plug while Arya pulls this up. If you're not in the NH Talk Discord, the link is in my TikTok bio. And we have like 150 people in there. People are posting. There's a little conversation that happens, but there's also just, it's a great place to like keep up on all the events that are happening.
And this is I'm gonna talk about it on TikTok. I'm also gonna do a video on TikTok. You can see it on Twitch. Saturday, December 6th, I'll be there 1 to 3 p.m. at the UU Church in Nashua. It's gonna be like, kind of like a winter clothing mutual aid event that we're gonna have there. And one of the big things about Paige's campaign that I really love about the campaign that I'm on is there is childcare at every event. Every event there is childcare. I can't think of another campaign that's ever really had that regularly, consistently through their events. And we've already noticed a huge difference in terms of allowing people to show up, comfortably, people who want to attend, who normally would not be able to attend, are able to do so. So there's a QR code right here. We have a website. Definitely check it out. Check out Paige's website. I wouldn't be on her campaign. If you guys like the stuff that I say, and I'm only speaking for myself, obviously, here, because I'm very weary. I want you guys to I want to be transparent with you guys always that I'm on her campaign, right? But I care deeply about the platforms that she's on. I'm not a political consultant. So I'm on her team because I care about changing this place for the better. And I think Paige can do that. So this is why I'm sharing this, because I believe she can change New Hampshire, and I hope you guys can all be there. Definitely hit up your mutual aid teams. Anyone else that hit me up if you ever need other access to other mutual aid groups. We're trying to put those all together, and anything we can do to be the connective tissue between multiple progressive campaigns, even outside of New Hampshire. I'm always looking for connections. So if you know people that are, running for Congress somewhere else in another state, let me know who they are. Let me talk to them. I would love to talk to them sometime, make a video about them. I ain't got anything better to do than that. So I appreciate all of you guys.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to try to be at that event too. So I'll see you guys there. And then, yeah, we'll see a lot of you tomorrow. Maybe we'll see Arya. We'll see.
I'm gonna be there.
Don't
I'm
hold
gonna be
your
there.
breath.
I'm gonna be there for sure. For sure.
All right,
With
guys.
my hat.
We'll hope to see. Yeah, please wear your tinfoil hat. All right, friends. I'm out. I'm tired. I can't talk anymore. I need to go just sit in a dark room for like 5 minutes after this. Goodbye.
Bye. Love you guys. Bye.